were like, don't join Big 4. If you join a Big 4, your life will be destroyed. You will be working for 20 hours in a day. I was like, there are totally only 24 hours. Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Today we are going to have the most exciting and most expected video, which you all have been asking for. We're going to talk about Big 4 audit and getting a job in Big 4 audit after completing your CA and after completing your CA inter. To give a brief introduction about myself, I am Raghav. I did my articleship in KPMG, which is BSR and Co LLP. After completing my articleship, I am continuing in KPMG. And we have Madhav here, who did his articleship in Ernst & Young, which is SR Batley Boy. And he is a recently qualified chartered accountant in the July 21 attempt. And after qualification, he is continuing in Ernst & Young. Hi, Madhav.
Hi.
So, yeah, Madhav, can you just...
So we are here to probably have a casual discussion about the Big 4 experience. Big 4 experience for people who are wanting to join the organization at an internship level, and also for the CA freshly qualified people, as to how the experience would be, how the work pressure would be, how the probably the salary would be, and what are the skills required, and we'll be covering a lot of points here. So just to give you a brief about my journey from articleship, I had no idea for joining Big 4 or like a common any CA intermediate guy would have. Anyone would start choosing their firms probably a month before results. I'm sure everyone would start attending interviews also.
I think you are getting at the misconceptions part. We have so many misconceptions. I think each misconception will have a separate video for itself. But we'll try to summarize it.
The first misconception that I had was, like everyone has. So let me make it clear that whatever I did my CA intermediate in 2018 May. Okay, the misconception that I had were broadly three. The first one would be, before now there would only be you will be put in one department, you will be doing only audit. That's the first misconception I had. Second thing I had was you will be working long hours. You will not be allowed to have any work-life balance or something like that. The third thing I had was
for CA inters.
Third one was classes. I will not be given enough time for attending classes, or I will not be given adequate leave. Was another common concern that everyone has in their mind. Even I had in that mind. But at the end of 3 years and conducting my 4th year here, I found that all three misconceptions were wrong. At least from my point of view, how I perceive it was the first one being being put only in one department. I realized that 3 years is not enough for you to learn completely that in that one domain. So I understand that. I'm sure that was how it was for you also.
Yeah.
Because you weren't allowed to change departments. And what did you feel about doing only audit? Was it sufficient? I'm sure you had these misconceptions also.
Correct. I had so many misconceptions, and during the time, I think we both cleared at the same time in August, and we were joining articleship in our August 2018. At that time, most of the people in our surrounding and our seniors, they were like, "Don't join Big 4. If you join a Big 4, your life will be destroyed. You will be working for 20 hours in a day." I was like, there are totally only 24 hours. If I'm going to work 20 hours every day, then how is a person going to survive? And there were so many misconceptions over there, and people were thinking that it is true. And most of my friends or my peers, they decided they were very strong that they should not join a Big 4 no matter what. They did not even take the first step of attending an interview or talking with more number of people in Big 4 about how their experience was, what were they learning.
Right. So that was one point that I did. I did not give any interviews in the mid-sized firms because being me, I like challenges and working in a dynamic environment. So I talked to a lot of people who have worked in EY, who have done their articleship in EY, who have actually done their articleship for a year and quit EY and joined some medium firm because of work pressure. So I got a viewpoint from all these people and understood that, okay, this work pressure would probably suffice my needs or something like that. Okay. The first thing let me tell you what you're supposed to look at. What have they probably guide the CA qualified guys as to how they're supposed to look at Big 4's experience something. If you see it as I'll be working, say 15 hours a day or something. Okay, you want something to add?
No. We'll just get it in a bucketed way so that our audience will have a better understanding. So first we'll touch upon your articleship interview experience, and then the articleship experience throughout, and then we'll go it in that way.
Okay. So I gave my interviews in 2 Big Fours. I gave it in Deloitte and I gave it in EY. Okay. Deloitte was a total flop because that was my first interview ever in my life. And I did that right after the day I got my results, and I didn't even know what I was going to say. I was not prepared at all. I had no idea how the interview is going to be. Although I've talked to people, they just gave me some pointers to look out, saying these are the standard questions that they might ask. Can you prepare all these things? So the only thing I was prepared for was I had prepared some accounting standards or something like that, and I went for the interview. And I had not prepared. I had not prepared for the one important question. Tell me about yourself. I was not prepared for that question. So I knew that I had flunked that interview. The GD was, I think I had a GD in the first round. And then, so this is how usually any Big 4 interviews and any interview for that matter would, be structured. The first would be an aptitude test that you'll be given that you're supposed to do it online. And then after post that, you'll be called for an interview where you will have minimum of 2-3 levels. The first one would be a group discussion where you will be amongst your peers discussing something. And then post that, you will have a technical round where there'll be a manager or senior manager who will be interviewing you. And then you will have an HR round, which is the final round, with the round before the final round. The final deciding round would be your partner round. So so there will be 4-5 maximum 4 stages where the interview would be structured. So my Deloitte experience was very bad. It was horrible that I knew I will not get the job. Because the GD went on well, but the interview, I know, because I didn't know what to say. I just told, they asked me why I wanted to become a chartered accountant, and I told some rubbish answer there. I was not prepared for all these questions. But then the next interview, I was prepared to answer because I had faced the interview once, so I know.
Correct.
This is how I'm going to feel under the
pressure or under the hot seat.
Yeah, that's all. So the EY interview went on smoothly. The one thing that we should know is even the managers or the person who's taking the interview knows that okay, he's only an intern, who's applying for the role of an intern, so he will not know much of the corporate world or the practical exposure of the applicability of how it will be. So the EY interview went on well. It was in the same structure that I mentioned before, and they asked some technical questions, and then they asked about the current affairs, and they asked about some general topics about decision making, or some
how to be a team player, your team management skills.
Am I missing something out that you want to add in your interview?
Just 3-4 things I will just summarize based on what you said. First one will be prepared. Your interviewer may be a very arrogant or a very strong person. He can come out very strongly on you. And there are times where you will get stress interviews also. The interviewer will pretend to be very rude and very arrogant, and he'll try to test your patience, how you react to different situations, how do you react to very tough questions. See, the right approach here is you don't need to know the right answer. The interview is just going to test how you are approaching the question, how you are handling the question. And they broadly just check 2 or 3 things. Your first will be your communication skills, and second will be your people skills. Your people skills will be very critical in Big 4 because all your entire experience will be based on people only. On one side you will have clients, on the other side you will have team. You should manage both of them.
Yeah. So probably to summarize your point, one thing it's very well put by you, that 2 things that they'll definitely look for, even though you're telling the wrong answer, would be your communication skills, how well you're presenting yourself or projecting your answer, and how well you're able to, probably if you're not knowing the answer, are you able to go around the bush? Are you able to, at least make an attempt to learn that thing? The learning ability is what they'll test. So I have seen people who are not that technically sound when it comes to probably by hearting standards or technical knowledge, but they're really good with people. They're really good with communication, and they're still survived at any Big 4 for that matter. Okay, I think we've covered the interview part. Moving on, can we talk about the experience while you are doing your articleship? That's really important. So I wanted to address the first discussion that I had, that you'll be put only in one department. Okay, so like I told you, let's take a small firm, let's take a big firm. Okay, in small firm, you will probably put in one audit for probably a month or 2. You will do that audit for a month. That won't go for months together, because those are all not very big clients. Okay, and you will have
a small correction here. For those who don't understand it, there are 3 types of firms. It will be small firms, medium firms, and big firms. And small firms will generally have more of tax cases and tax claims. And medium-sized firms will have audit clients and tax claims. And the Big Fours will have since Big Fours they have two different departments. One will be a tax department, another will be audit department. Tax claims will come under the tax department, and audit claims will come under the audit department. Please go ahead, Madhav.
Yeah. So you will be, since they have in the small firm, you will be put in multiple engagements, but not in the same domain. You will be doing audit work for a month and probably do the tax related work for the other month. Probably you will be. I have seen people, my own peers, who have done insolvency cases for during their articleship, which is really good. But I feel as an intern, you need to be, structured in what you want, and audit experience would help you, because you feel in those 3 years audit is not for you. And don't take me wrong, but you will not be doing only audit work. Okay, you will be doing tax work. There will be some sort of GST work involved there. You will be asked to take decisions, or you will be involved in decision making for the tax impact that could probably arise or something. So you will have hands-on experience in all the departments, probably not as intricate in all departments like what you get in a small firm. But what I'm trying to say is you will need those 3 years to understand the entire process, how a company goes about. What do you do in a company when you go and audit? And how do you audit a small firm? How do you audit? Because I've seen, in my articleship experience, I've seen big clients. I've seen in manufacturing, I've seen a 10,000 crore company. I've seen small clients like 50 crore, 60 crore revenue company also. So both these things are important, because your attitude towards auditing a big firm, a big company, should vary from doing a small company. I will talk about the skills that you will probably learn all these things a bit later. But what I'm trying to say is you need those 3 years to assess your ability towards audit, to understand how a company works, to understand what are the structures in a company, what are the departments, what do they function, how do they function, what do they do, and you need those 3 years to understand what actually goes through. So for that, I would recommend a Big 4 audit experience.
Exactly. It was very well put by you, Madhav. Because most of us are straight from school. We don't go to a regular college. So at 18 or 19, we will not be in a very matured stage as to decide which subject we want to excel in, or which pathway we have to choose. Because and if you take a tax, there will be direct tax, indirect tax, and transfer pricing, and they're all very niche fields. So we may miss out on many things. So, for example, if we choose direct tax, there are chances that we may regret that why did we choose direct tax for 3 years. But in terms of audit, you will get an overall approach, and you will see so many things. Like Madhav said, you will there will be tax computation in your statutory audit lines. There will be GST computation, or you will verify GST returns. You will verify GST or 3V is matching or not. So you will get an overall approach in audit, and it will help you a lot in terms of decision making after qualification also, which will be the right pathway for me to choose.
One thing I want to add is, so what I felt was, even though, for example, let me say I was doing the same client, the same engagement for 2 years, for example. That is what I did actually. But I did not feel bored at all, because every engagement that I do, for example, for listed clients, we have to do a quarterly reporting of the company. So every quarter that the auditor, I was probably allocated the same areas for a year. But in that 1 year, I was able to excel at that same areas. I was able to find new issues or new areas to put forth, new ways, efficient ways to do it. And there'll be a learning curve definitely whilst you're auditing the company. So take my word, you will not be bored by doing the same work at all, because you will be doing it in a better way. You'll be doing it in the right way towards the end of the audit.
Because that was the next question I was about to ask, because many of my friends who did not join Big 4, they cited this as the reason. You will be plotted in one client, and you will be doing that one client for 3 years. It actually does not work that way. There's no work to in any client to do it for the whole year. For at the maximum, you will spend 50 or 60 days in the client in a year. The balance years, balance amount of days, you will be doing other kinds of clients. You may be doing listed clients or small clients. And audit is not just statutory audit. In Big 4, mainly we do both group audits, tax audits, and statutory audits.
That's right. So yeah, I think we've covered pretty much about. So this experience is really important, because at the age of 19 or 20, when I'm going through my second year and third year of articleship, I got an opportunity to sit with the company's MD, with the company's CFO, CEO, and discuss the issues. And you will not get these opportunities anywhere. And thinking about it in hindsight, I'm really happy that I chose EY, because an 18-year-old or 19-year-old doesn't get to sit in and make and be a part of such big decision makings. How are these issues handled? How is for listed clients? How is this issue getting affected in the market? If you're interested in the markets, is it how is? I've even seen comments about my own audits in the news coming about how have the auditors audited this particular client or something like that. So that is one big exposure that will get here. You might get the same exposure in small firms, but not at a big level. Is what I have observed.
Exactly.
In my articles.
And the trust level partners and managers keep on you is humongous. I have seen people who were just staff, as in who were in their articleship period, and they were leading listed clients. Generally, listed clients are led by qualified who have 3-4 years experience. But you can see this scenario only in Big Fours, where article assistants will be leading listed clients.
One thing that I want, that's it. One thing I want to add is whether they won't see whether you're an article or a qualified chartered accountant or a manager. The trust and the responsibilities might vary while you go up the hierarchy, but the level of work you're given, the level of commitment that's expected out of you, the level of experience that you're getting is same across the level. And I feel that it's really important for an 18-year to 21-year-old to experience all those things in their articleship life.
Exactly. So Madhav, and one more big misconception was the work-life balance. People say, as I mentioned earlier, also you have to work for 20 hours and only you can sleep in the rest of 4 hours. And eating and sleeping and all, bye only.
I can only talk for myself. Okay, I've got an amazing work-life balance. So I won't say you will not. You will be. See, I will not say you will be working 20 hours a day all throughout your 3 years. That is definitely not true. I will also not say you can go home at 6. Okay. I won't say you have to compromise your life, your other side of the life completely at all, because if the first 3-4 months, or let's say 7 to 8 months of your articleship life would obviously be a chaos only, because for you coming from a college or you will not have experienced such corporate life at all. So for you to get accustomed to such methodology or Big Four's culture, it will obviously take you a 6-7 month period to get accustomed to that particular culture. Once you have settled in and once you have moved along with people there, you know how to manage time, and that's all. From there, it sets your life, and it's how you manage. I was able to go for classes from my second year or 2.5 years, like perfectly planned out. I did not compromise on any friends meeting or family occasions, anything. I had not compromised on that based on work and all. I was able to plan my time really well, and I was able to get adequate time for my life. Okay, so that said, I don't think you will be forced to work for a long time. You will only be doing audits probably till 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the night towards the end of the audit. That might probably last for 3-4 days max. I can tell you it will last only for 4-5 days max, not more than that. Maximum 5 days, not more than that.
So to summarize, it is just two things. One is a very good plan, because in terms of your studies and work, if we are planning properly and doing right things at the right moment, I think our managers will understand. The second will be trust factor. If we are going to demonstrate good quality work and we are building a good rapport with the client and the team, I think managers will trust us. And it will see the biggest problem where I'm seeing with my peers is the micromanagement. The managers tend to micromanage staff. That is where there will be irritation in both the sides. And that is where the hate problem starts. The staff does not like the managers, or the manager does not like the staff. Once you demonstrate good quality work, and if they start trusting you, I think there will be a very smooth equation going forward there.
That's right. So I think the final point I want to cover about is the study leave that you're gonna get. Okay, I think across all Big Fours, you will be getting a solid leave of 6 months, if I'm not wrong. So I wrote my
5 months in our case.
So I wrote my attempt in July 21. So I got a leave from December 6th or something. So I got from December to till the exam, I got solid 6 months leave. So I was not disturbed in those 6 months at all. So I think those 6 months are more than sufficient for you to prepare, because I was able to see my peers also not getting stressed out much of not getting much exam leave. I think this is a solid leave that you'll be getting here, and you will be.
So a small doubt here. So you finished all your classes before your study leave, right?
Yeah. So that is a separate discussion probably we can have on how to finish classes and all. But a quick summary on that. Make sure you complete all the classes, or make sure, if not all, at least reading all 6-7 papers except elective paper before your exam starts at least once, so that you know
Understood.
what is there, you know how to plan your studies, you know how to manage your time. So that is one thing. Yeah, but let's talking about the Big Four giving leaves and all. You'll be getting a proper 6 months leave, no doubt about that, and you will be asked to go, allowed to go on time. So no problem about that. Have you covered everything for articles?
Yes, I think we have broadly touched upon all the points we planned. And let's go to the qualifiers now. I know many of my peers and many of my friends are constantly bugging me. They'll ask me, they are surrounding me with questions like, how is Big 4 audit? Will they treat us badly because we are coming from a mid-sized firm? Or how will the work pressure be? Or how will the growth mainly be? Because there is a general misconception, and in somewhat ways, it is kind of true that the Big Four's entry level pay is slightly less than the industry pay, or in terms of companies like MNCs or other companies where they hire for the MIS or
other tax
other
work
kind
or
of
something.
roles.
I understand. So from your output, I'm getting 2 questions. Okay, one would be for CA freshers, how would they be treated? What are all expected out of them? And second, the pay, obviously. So first thing about CA freshers who are coming from small firms and mid firms, especially, this applies for both interns as well as CA freshers. Okay, the managers and your audit leaders know that you are coming from a small or a mid firm background. You would probably have not had such experience. You are not accustomed to the any Big Four culture, so they know that you are bound to make mistakes. For an intern, you are my theory is that as an intern, you're supposed to make as many mistakes as you can, because at the end of the day, you're an intern. You don't know the particular concept, and you're supposed to make mistakes. That's how I advise my interns who are currently working under me. Okay, so I have one guy who I'm managing, and I'm telling him repeatedly, make mistakes, because that is the only way you will learn. So make mistakes. Don't repeat the next time. Obviously, that's the only way you learn. And to some extent, this applies for a CA qualifier also, because when you're coming from a small firm, you would not probably have that experience, and it's okay to make mistakes, because the managers understand that you're not coming from such, it's that kind of exposure. But that said, they also look at your growth as to how fast your learning, your grasping ability is, how fast you're able to get accustomed to the EY culture and all sorts of things. So that's that you'll be given, but you'll be given ample time to study the Big Four way of auditing, their own methodology and their own how things work out there. You'll be given time, and you'll be judged based on that only. Moving to the money factor, okay, it's a known fact that the starting pay for a CA fresher is not at the market average, or it's just at the market average for a CA fresher at Big Fours. But how I see it is, you invest your 5-6 years of time here, and probably you'll be a manager or a senior manager. Okay, and when you become a manager or senior manager, the salary does not stop there. You take a 22-year or 21-year-old, take 2 people who are joining Big 4 at 21, take a guy who is joining an industry job at 21. Okay, an industry job might pay probably 15-16 lakhs. Now the Big 4 starting salary pays around 9 to 10 lakhs. But 5-6 years down the line, the growth in the industry would probably stop. It will go at a very slower rate, and it will get stagnant after a point. But here, every year, your growth would be significant. Your growth would actually be, your salary will go exponentially. And not just the salary, but you get to do more roles. You have additional responsibility. You get to manage an intern. You get to manage probably a team in the future. You get to find more issues and sit with partner discussions and all that. That is one.
And you will get to handle multiple clients also.
Yeah. You get to have your own client and manage that. So that is really one thing. One thing that I see, okay, money is really important, but I see people now are focused only on short-term goals and short-term objectives, that if they join a company just because of the pay, because the starting pay is more than what they get here. But how I see it is, invest 5 or 6 years of time here, and you will definitely be rewarded for your job, because this level of this side of the work actually requires you to put 5 years of your time here to experience such great clients and all that matter. But that said, you will definitely be your salary would go exponentially. Like you will definitely know that 5-6 years of a time would pay here. Okay, what else are we missing out here?
I think we broadly covered most of the things we planned, and just one thing alone. just one thing I just want to add with what Madhav said. At an average period of 10 to 15 years, when you join as a qualified chartered accountant in Big 4, you can become a partner if there is a steady growth and if you are bringing a lot of clients in and if you're having good relationship with your clients and there is a solid work ethic. I think you can easily become a partner, and we all know the partner's salaries. The growth is very, very exponential if you are becoming a partner, and from there you will literally get partnership in the Big Four's share of profits.
Okay, that's right.
And one more last question, Madhav. What do you think about as a CA candidate or a CA entry qualified? Which Big 4 do you think he should join? Is there any difference as to which one Big 4 is bigger than the other?
Nothing like that. So how I see it is, every Big 4 has got its own name and own brand value. And even now, companies in the industry are looking for Big 4 clients only. So anywhere you go, you would have the same set of the industry that you are auditing, the exposure. So there are 3-4 things that are supposed to look at when it comes to Big 4 audit. One is the level of client, how the brand of the client. Is it a creamy client? Is it a client that's probably out in the news frequently and all that? Second is the quality of work that you do. The quality of work that you do in any Big 4 firm would be the same. Okay, how you approach an audit, how integrated you see things, how do you manage your work, how do you go about doing things are the same. So these are the things that remain constant across all Big 4s. And I don't see a difference at all. Even I've spoken to all other 3 Big 4 auditing interns as well, who are saying that the level of commitment that is required, the level of consistency that is required, the level of the quality that is maintained is same. So I don't pick any Big 4s and all, but since I'm working in EY, I would say join EY. That would be a good closing point.
Then guys, don't join EY, join KBN.
Okay.
Yeah, as Madhav rightly said, all Big 4s are grossly the same. But each individual's experience may differ because each individual will have a different clientele, will have a different team, will have a different manager. So individual experience will differ a lot, but at an overall level and in terms of your brand name or in terms of exposure you are getting will grossly be the same.
That is one thing I want to hide. Every client that you do is different. Like I did a couple of clients. Okay, in one client I learned all the financial knowledge, how to account, how to audit, and all sorts of things. In the other client, all that I learned was how to manage people. So that is also equally important. The people management skills also is really important to your technical knowledge, and this would help you in doing different clients, and which is provided by Big 4s for you.
Understood. Yeah,
that is what I'm going to wanted to tell.
Thank you so much, Madhav, for your time. Is there any other small points or small, I don't want to call it a tip, but any last remarks you would like to say to CA qualified and CA interqualified?
Tip, okay. So just one thing is, the broad thing that I mentioned before also is, don't think in a short-term goal-oriented approach. So think, what if you spend at least 5-6 years in any firm, not just in Big 4. If you are choosing an industry job, think about where it will be after 5 years, and compare that with the other standards that are there in the market, and see if that pays off. And be dedicated and be disciplined and consistent in your work. Keep growing and learn to make mistakes is what I would advise. You make mistakes, you will learn. That is the only way you will learn, according to me.
And one more point, Madhav missed out, is ask people and reach out to more people.
Definitely.
If you are not going to ask, you are not going to get the answer.
That is right. That is all very right.
Thank you so much, Madhav, for your time. I think this is going to help a lot of people.
Yes, definitely. Thanks a lot.